Hey guys, it's been a while, but welcome back to the House of R.E.P. This is still season 1, and we're talking about Altered Carbon. So we finally checked out this awesome cyberpunk sci-fi series on Netflix, and we want to talk about it. So stay tuned for another great episode of T.H.O.R. Okay, so now Altered Carbon's been out for a while, but I only just got to check it out with Pre recently. Just haven't had the time. This show is very cool. I love cyberpunk. I love sci-fi. It's like when you take something like Blade Runner and you kind of merge it with like Total Recall and Halo and Mass Effect and stuff, and then you get Altered Carbon. So this is based, and I didn't know this before I did my research, that this is actually based on a novel by Richard Morgan. I thought this was actually an original show that was created by Netflix, but Netflix actually ended up making an amazing adaptation of this storyline. Now, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, I'll put a little zinger on top of this. But basically, what you can do is humanity have found some kind of alien technology that allows them to store their consciousness into like hard drives, which are called sleeves, and they're based on the back of the neck. So it allows interstellar travel to be created because you can genetically make bodies and like basically download yourself into new bodies. So what I'm going to do first is introduce my co-host Pri, my Valkyrie. So Pri, say hi to everyone.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well.
Yes, we wish you all well during this pandemic and hope that you're just, enjoying some great movies and TV shows like we are, and obviously, always learning and always evolving like we do as a Rep Night. So, Pri, season 1. Now, let's talk about season 1 first. Season 1 was really wicked, wasn't it?
Yes, but before I proceed further, I want to say first and foremost, sorry guys, we've been like away from podcast for so many days, weeks.
Yeah, it's been almost like a month since we've done something new since Wonder Woman 84 came out. That was our last podcast. And yeah, we've just been really busy, like working on stuff. So that's one of the reasons why we've been kind of under the radar. We haven't been able to do stuff.
So apology about that, and I hope you guys are still following us.
Yes, just keep following us.
And I hope you haven't left us. So please be with us, and we'll continue talking more about it.
Yeah, and evolving and growing.
Yes, definitely. So, so to start about this Altered Carbon, I believe this came out in 2018, and I remember like last year at the beginning, I kind of like opened Altered Carbon on Netflix because I think everybody was talking about it, and I just saw for like a few minutes of the first episode, and then I kind of like stopped because I just stopped.
Yeah.
And then what happened this year? After a year, I cannot believe it to myself, honey. After a year, Ray was talking about this again. Like he was telling me like this is like one of the most wicked sci-fi season, and I was like, okay, let's give it a go. And with Ray by my side, I was like, okay, let me pass the first episode. So I did pass. Right? And after what happened, honey, I wanted to know what happens in the next episode and the next episode and the next episode.
Yeah.
I just
before
couldn't.
You were quite like, I have to say that the pilot, the way it's constructed, right? I had the same problem with it. It has some of my favorite actors in it, like Byron Mann, William Lee. Like they're my all-time G's. Like especially Byron Mann because he played like Ryu in Street Fighter and these other films that I've seen. So he's an amazing actor. So I wanted to watch it, and also Daniel Bainhart was in it, so I love Daniel Bainhart from Mortal Kombat Conquest. If you've ever seen Mortal Kombat Conquest, it was a prequel series that was created in the Mortal Kombat franchise, and it was just so cool. And he was really cool in it as Zero, one of the like the heroes, sort of like a kind of like a precursor to Johnny Cage's character. He used to team up with Kung Lao and stuff. So he was an original character for the show, and he used to work with Kristanna Loken as well. So really good, like a really good show that should have like evolved more and had more seasons, but sadly it got cancelled and it ended on a cliffhanger. So I'll talk to you guys about it more in another podcast and really break down how wicked that show is and how those actors are. But when I saw it briefly with Z, the first episode of Altered Carbon, and then we just never got round to seeing the rest of it.
When was that? Last year?
I think so. It was when, like, basically, the show was kind of like, I think, going into its second season. And I wanted to kind of just check out the first season first. But I just got so busy, I never got a chance to kind of really, lay into the show and, like, see what it was all about. But yeah, I'm really glad I've seen it now. It's one of the first season is one of my all-time favorite seasons in sci-fi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have to rate it really highly.
To be very honest, I mean, as I said before as well, like, the first episode, like, last year, it didn't really, like, I didn't go further, like, after like few minutes, but this time I literally passed the first episode. And guys, if you haven't seen this, you should go for it, especially if you like sci-fi, because it's one of the most amazing season of sci-fi that I've watched after a year or 2. I mean, it's really amazing. And the best part is, like, I would agree with the Ray. Like, season 1, season 1 was the best, and season 2, I didn't like it at the beginning, but like when they were talking about the angel fire and all, when Kel had the power, I mean, kind of like really like made me more have more interest, of what's going on next, what happened to Kel. I wanted to know more in detail, so it kind of like ignited my interest again. But overall, if you want me to rate as a summary, I would prefer season 1. And season 2, I wouldn't say it's bad, it's still good, but season 1 is the best of both of them.
Yeah, definitely. I agree as well. Because the thing is that season 2's got some amazing comebacks to the first season. And Anthony Mackie's great as a re-sleeved Takeshi I forgot the guy's name. Takeshi Kovacs, sorry. So Takeshi.
How can you forget?
I know, it's just Kovacs. My mind's like
We've been
his
talking
name.
about Kovacs all the time.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Takeshi Kovacs.
Takeshi Kovacs.
I like the name Kovacs.
Like, it really rolls off the tongue really well. So character naming, plot structure, the production design of this series is incredible. I dream of having a kind of film or a show with this kind of budget. The Praetorians looked wicked. The Protectorate looked amazing. The whole idea of, like how the Protectorate kind of protects everyone, but they're actually getting corrupt and want to kind of own everything. And then you've got was it Quilcast Faulkner? How do you say her name? Is like Quilcast?
I just call her Kel.
Yeah, so Quilcast Faulkner, who's actually the original. Like, she was the original creator of the stacks, like the hard drive things, the things that people use to kind of re-sleeve and stuff. She has this kind of like rebel group, and they get wiped out, called Envoys, which is really cool. So Takeshi's kind of like starts off as a protectorate because of his life and upbringing, and then he switches sides and joins the envoys, and then they get massacred, wiped out, which is a pretty sad bit.
Yeah.
That bit's sad when they all get wiped out, and then
they couldn't control themselves as well.
Yeah, it was a virus that ended up getting them to kind of kill each other, which I think is quite nasty. The cast is amazing on this show. You got Joel Kinneman from RoboCop. Now listen, Joel Kinneman, when he first debuted, I thought he was a seriously wooden actor. Like, he looks great. He's got an amazing look. He keeps himself in amazing shape. Like, he has that screen presence and that amazing look for, like, a hero. But the films he's been in, from, like, Suicide Squad to RoboCop, whoever, like, the team, like, they shot competently those films. But as Rick Flag and as, Alex Murphy, his version of RoboCop just didn't hit the spot. And even he realized it. I remember him talking about recently in interviews that it's not the same as the original one, starring, directed by Paul Verhoeven and starring the legendary Pia Weller. So the original RoboCop is just so defining, like, for its time. It's just an amazing film on its own. And the R rating and the kind of satire is what kind of makes that film what it is. The remake has some wicked elements, like RoboCop having, like his motorcycle and all these updated kind of tech, but it becomes like less prosthetic and more CG, and the film lost the essence of what it is about being the soul in the machine. Kind of like Ghost in the Shell. So Ghost in the Shell is another film that we'll probably be talking about in like the next podcast because we also checked that out. So this film's very similar to Ghost in the Shell. It borrows elements from Ghost in the Shell. It borrows elements from Total Recall. You know, both the remake and the original Schwarzenegger movie. It has elements of kind of like Halo. You know, Mass Effect with like the Eldars. They're very similar to like the I forgot the name of the aliens who were the original people who got wiped out by the Reapers, but the suits, the designs, very Mass Effecty. It's really cool. The Onis and things like that. They look like the little readout things in Mass Effect. So it's a very cool, very very wicked sci-fi show. I mean, Joel's wicked in it. This is his best performance to date. Don't you agree, Pri? Like he's really awesome in this, Joel Kinneman.
I mean, talking about the cast, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely Joel have done a very great role acting as, doing the role of Takeshi Kovacs. I mean, even Anthony was really good as Takeshi Kovacs, but both of them played a very, very good role.
Yeah.
I mean, it really portrayed the Kovacs role.
Yeah.
It really portrayed how they should be, how they reacted, how they fought, how they act, how they implemented, whatever the script was. And they did a very good job, both of them. I would definitely agree to that. And as we're talking about the cast, I really, really love Poe.
Yeah.
He's the most adorable AI. I mean, the way he is, even though he's an AI, he has the feeling. He has the sensitive feeling. He really looks after his client. Is it client or?
I would say he considers Takeshi his client because he's obviously living at the hotel.
At the hotel.
But then he becomes his partner, which
Yeah,
is an amazing
they become friends.
evolution. Yeah,
Like later in the second
very,
season.
it's very good.
I mean, the connection they have, and I like. Do you remember the first part?
I was very sad when I thought he was dying. Like the AI bit. I thought he
yeah.
died in season 1, but miraculously he survived. But he was
he did
damaged in
survive.
season 2.
But I like that action part when Kovacs went to the hotel. And remember that he was asking that scene. Remember that he had to put the blood. He has to pay by blood. Remember that scene, and he has to shoot those guys.
Oh yeah, basically. Now there's another Tamo Pennicott, right? He's an amazing Canadian actor. I think he's a Canadian actor, but he was in Need for Speed. One of the Need for Speed Carbon. He was in that, and he was in Battlestar Galactica. Now he's evolved very, very, very well as an actor. His evolution is good. He's got a great range. He was in I think. He was in Smallville. So he was in the episode Ares, where he played Lois's ex-boyfriend, who actually gets turned into a super weapon by Lex, and then he rebels against them. And also, he was in this, and he played a Russian. So he was basically one of the Dimny twins or Dimini twins or something like that. I forgot the name of them. But basically, the Dimitri twins. So basically, he played Dimitri Cadman. And he came in, his twin brother came in to try and apprehend and steal, not steal, basically apprehend Takeshi Kovacs for Takeshi's sister, who's played, interestingly enough, by Dichen Lachman. Now, Dichen Lachman, she is an amazing actress. She's Nepalese Australian. She was in Neighbours, so I saw her in that first. She was in Doll's House. That's really where I remember her most from. So she was one of the kind of breakout characters in that. And she's appeared in all these different series since then. So she also played Sky's mother in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so that was a great role for her. And she really nailed it in this as Takeshi's sister because I thought that she died. And then when she came back and then became the primary antagonist for the latter half of the season, and it turned out that she was the mastermind behind everything, and she had been corrupted.
I mean, that was
crazy.
That was the biggest twist because when she was left alone when she was young, I mean, she was very innocent, very very I don't know, shy, scared, she was like that, and she completely turned around.
She was kind, and then she got corrupted by money, power, and receiving,
and she was corrupted, and then when she came back in her adulthood, I actually thought she's going to be the savior and partner and a revolutionary fighter with Kovacs.
I thought that would have been
Yeah.
wicked. I would have preferred that, actually. That's
Yeah.
the one thing that I don't like about the show, but that's what they wanted to write. I wouldn't have written it like that. I would have given her that wicked heroic entrance, and then
Yeah.
the brother and
No,
sister
but
team up.
it was like a heroic entrance, and we thought it was,
Yeah.
when she came to save her brother, and
Mm.
we were like so excited, like, oh, she came back to save, and this is gonna be
Yeah.
wicked.
Yeah.
But there was a twist. She was
Yeah.
actually the main the main
Villain,
the
innit?
villain, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even bring out the word because I don't have her as a villain in my mind. I look at her as the second person, the the fighter, the revolutionary fighter with Kovacs,
Yeah, yeah.
and then when she became the villain, I was like, wow, there was a complete twist. But that's the script of the movie. But as an actor, I never knew she was Nepali.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that was a big surprise for me,
Yeah, so
and
that's amazing.
it's a great achievement for her. So if you're listening, Dichen or Dichen?
I call it Dichen.
Dichen. Sorry if I mispronounce it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
literally well done. You have done an amazing job. It's like I'm so happy and excited to see more of your movies or series. I mean, people to see people from Nepal or some other country like having a breakthrough in Hollywood. It's like it's like a pride. I'm
Yeah,
proud of it.
yeah. You know what's really great about this series is the multiculturalism. You've
Yeah.
got amazing actors like Waleed Zatar as Samir, who was basically working with Marta Hirgareda's character, Christina Ortega. So you had a Muslim, you had like a Latin Christian, you had like people who were like, they don't believe in
Asian.
God. You've got Indonesians, you've got Nepalese actors, you've got, Swedish actor with Joel Kinneman, you've got Canadian actors. This multiculturalism, this fusion of humanity is what I love because
Me too. We love it totally.
yeah, and I like that. I don't like, like this kind of, Hollywood had an old school trend, and a lot of people talk about the whitewashing of Hollywood, where they have like, people of, like a Caucasian heritage, or European ancestry playing Asian or black characters in blackface. And I don't like that. I don't like it when you basically are culturally appropriating, somebody else's culture, because you think that there's no talent out there. So we've seen some kind of missteps, like with Star Trek 2 Into Darkness. Benedict Cumberbatch is an amazing actor, but there was actors out there, that they could have looked at, that could have played Khan Noonan Singh in the right way. So what they could have done is actually had Benedict Cumberbatch for maybe the first half of the film, and then after his identity is revealed, he could have changed his face maybe, and then we could have introduced another actor. So I don't know what they were doing there. There was a lot of controversy with Ghost in the Shell, but this has handled the subject matter really well because the supporting cast are all, international. You got Atto Asando, who played Vernon Elliott. He was great. Then that dynamic that they had with her husband, like his wife being in the man's sleeve, all of that stuff is just so amazing because like they don't skip a beat, there's just such amazing acting in this show.
This clearly shows like people from all over the world, whether from America, UK, India, Asia, China, whichever country you name it, there are talented people all over the world. And this show clearly shows you have chosen the right candidate, the right casting, and you guys have done a brilliant job. So heads off to that and keep doing that, please, because we love to have amazing podcasts speaking about them. Correct, honey?
Absolutely. I love it. Like, number one, I love this kind of evolution of filmmaking where we're more internationally and colorfully represented because humanity is a full spectrum of color, backgrounds, and philosophies. And it's our unity as human beings that make amazing things like that. Like, this show created an entirely new world, a new world of possibilities. It makes us want to strive towards something like this, but in a positive way where we could live for many years and make a difference in society. This production sort of shows the darkness of that, where Quilquest Faulkner Kelkes I'm saying I'm murdering her name, but basically, Kel, she invented the stacks, right, to liberate humanity. But again, it was basically like Oppenheimer, all of these, great scientists. It was kind of sort of turned around and kind of twisted into a weapon, or a force of control on people, where the rich and most elite people can clone themselves and live forever and essentially feel like they're gods among men. So that's one of the kind of like leading arcs of James Purefoy's character. So it's great to see him back because he was great in like Solomon Kane. He was in Resident Evil as well. I think he got taken out by a licker. He was the guy who threw the original T virus in the elevator or in the lab, when he stole it. But he's one of the wealthiest men alive, and he lives in a skyscraper above the clouds, which is out of reach of everyday people. So he's ruthlessly powerful, and he wants to exert his control on those around him. His wife is played by Kristen Lemon. So Kristen Lemon's an amazing Canadian actress who has like popped up in so many wicked shows that I've seen over the years, from like Andromeda to, I think she was also in like maybe Farscape, and maybe also I've seen her basically in lots of like sci-fi shows, and she was great in this. She plays a really cool sort of like manipulative, and that kind of the wife who wants to kind of do her stuff on her own and stuff. It's just really cool. She's a cool character, and she like the arc at the end where she was responsible for what happened to Vernon Elliott's daughter. That was really cool. All that stuff was really wicked. Like the way the Bancrofts got taken down, the way it turned out. Because like what I love is the whole detective story. Because I love detective story crime films. So the series is so good. The first season is really good because it is a detective story woven within this cyberpunk kind of movie, whereas the second season is more kind of like Halo and Mass Effect. It's very actiony, very very much about like, okay, there's this Eldar threat. It doesn't have that same kind of detective story plot of the first series, and I think that's where it went in a different direction, and it lost a bit of its momentum, and it was up and down. There were like up and down episodes until William Lee returned as Takeshi Kovacs' kind of like double sleeved clone who's younger. That's really when the show started picking up again.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot. There were three lead characters acting as Kovacs.
Yeah.
It's Joel, is Anthony, and Will. I'm sorry, I mentioned only Joel and Anthony at the beginning. I have to include Will as well. All three of them were great. Sorry,
Yeah,
5 out
Will
of
is
5
very
to
good.
all three of them.
Will is one of my all-time favorite actors. The first time I was ever introduced to him was in Die Another Day, and he was amazing in that. And I felt that it was a massive misstep to not have him carry on within the film as the villain. The idea is really cool that Toby Stephens changed his face and became. So from Colonel Moon, he became Gustav Graves. I'll talk about Die Another Day in another pod because I'm going to do a massive Bond, sort of documentary kind of thing about the whole franchise because I'm a huge Bond aficionado. But William Lee was amazing in that, and all the other films he's been in, he's been very cool. Like, he's one of my favorite actors, and I'd love to work with him out one day. So, Will, if you're listening out there, it'll be wicked to work with you. Also, Byron, Mann, most of the cast here are like some of my go-to people that I would love to work with. So it's really cool. Renee was very cool. So Renee Elise Goldsberry, who played Quillquest Faulkner, aka Nadia Makia, she was very good in the first season. And in the second season, she kind of like almost stole the whole show with her fighting and
I mean, she
doing
was
her
the
stuff.
leader of the uprising, correct?
Yeah. So she was very cool. Now let me look at the rest of the cast to just, So Kristen Ortega, so Martha, yeah, she was very cool. Like her character arc, like she was like this tough cop who wanted to find out the truth, and then her kind of butting heads with Takeshi, Joe Kinneman's character. That was really cool during his investigation.
I mean, it was cute because we never knew like why Ortega was always insisting to know like what's going on with Kovacs. She always wants like trying to see like what's happening with Bancroft, what's happening with Kovacs at the beginning of season 1, and she always tried to know, like, even though the head of the chief or whoever that from the police. What's his name again?
That guy. I forgot who played the
Captain
chief.
Tanaka.
Yeah. So
he
Captain
was
Tanaka,
telling just to ignore it or avoid it, but she never gave up.
Yeah.
She was always investigating and finding out like what's going on. And later, the twist was Kovacs was actually her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, Riker, isn't it? Yeah. So that was really cool because what it is that he got framed, and so that was really wicked. That was really wicked because the thing is Byron Mann at the start is just a mercenary. Like he's hanging out with his whoever he's with a girl, and then she gets taken out. Daniel Bainhart basically kind of comes back for revenge. Then they put him in prison. Then he's in his sleeve. It's just really cool. It's really wicked because he just comes back as, like this other guy. And the other guy who plays him, Torben Liberesh, he's very good as Ivan Carrera, aka Jaeger in season 2. So, the SeaTac Praetorians, they're quite a crazy bunch, especially with his group called the Wedge. They're pretty cool. I thought the Wedge was a cool idea.
How about Mr. Luang?
Oh, True Trang, who played Mr. Lung, the Ghost Walker. Now, he was a guy, oh my god, when he attacked them in the elevator.
The minute he came out and he was attacking people with
What is that weird poke, kind of like, he had this, I don't know what it was.
Like a twisting...
twisting kind of knife thing.
The way they take out a chunk of the human...
That was horrible.
Oh my god.
He really screwed up Thingy's arm,
Me and Ray were unable to watch it and they were like, oh
that bit was so squeamish.
It was like too much.
Yeah.
But he was a good actor. He really played his role very well as well. And I mean the saddest part I think was season 1, right, when the whole family was killed for Ortega's.
It was sad. Basically what happened was that he killed the uncle, so her brother, I believe, her older brother.
The mom as well.
Her mom. Her mom's brother, so her uncle got killed, and the kids, her nephews got killed. But then what happened was that basically you find out in season 2 that they were able to get new bodies for them. So the kids ended up actually surviving, so their stacks were intact. But it was still sad that they got taken out. She's quite vicious. Raylene. So Ray, she's just like, like she joined the Envoys, Envoys because of Tak, and liked being a part of it. But then she suddenly was like, okay, I'm gonna screw these guys over, and I'm gonna screw the Protectorate over, and then I'm gonna become this kind of like wicked. I would say like some wicked kind of Illuminati kind of person, like who kind of controls everything. And then she makes this kind of satellite kind of sky thing in space. I've got a name of it, but it's like this like really nasty kind of place of like ill repute where the rich can go and then they can have all their pleasures and like fantasies kind of fully realized, but then the people who are hired by them think that they're going to get re-sleeved, but they end up having permadeath. So when one of the girls finds out, she kind of jumps to her death. And then that's what also is another side story. So it's got all these wicked kind of side stories that kind of lead to the finale at the end, when they have this massive fight on that place. And Poe helps, Thingy's Vernon Elliott's daughter helps. She comes back, with all this power and skill. She was wicked. So... really, really wicked stuff, man. We
forgot to mention about Lizzie as well.
Yeah, Lizzie's cool. That's who I'm talking about, isn't it? The daughter who gets beaten up, Lily. Yeah.
So Lizzie was, I like her character because the way she had her revolutionary, role. Yeah. Because at the beginning she was like very
vulnerable
weak, and Poe was training her.
Yeah.
And then when she came out like such a strong lady, like fighting.
She became a badass.
She literally came out and fighting, and coming to that what is that place?
I don't know. It's called the Sky House or something. I don't know. I can't remember the name honestly. But basically, it was like a giant brothel in space or something. I don't know.
It was really good the way she came out. I mean, it was really nice. I like that fact, and the connection she had with Poe as well. That was sweet. Oh, we forgot about Dick 301.
Oh yeah, so in season 2, right, you have
An adorable AI.
Dinah
Such an
Shahabi.
adorable
Yeah, she's a
AI.
Palestinian actress. Very, 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 very nice. She plays a sort of like the an AI archaeologist, and she befriends Poe. So yeah, she was really cool. I liked her as an additional AI companion and sort of love interest with Poe. Their arc was very good. I wish we had another season to see that evolve and grow, and like just see like I really wish this had a third season. I actually hope that if I can get a little bit higher up in like when I start to get a little bit more, I might try and make a movie, like a third movie maybe, like take elements of the novels and make like a feature, that kind of wraps it up.
It should be an episode, season 3.
Yeah, season 3 would be ideal.
Season 3.
Yeah, I really think they should make it, but the high production cost of the show is actually what shut it down. That's what I ended up reading to find out what actually happened. So they ended up kind of like canceling the series, even though it's good. Now this has happened a few times with some shows I really liked. It was like shows like Being Human,
but I don't
stuff
understand
like
why
that.
they cancel it. I really don't.
High production costs, really. It was really expensive, this show.
I mean,
Joel Kinneman said that the first season alone had the budget of like the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Wow.
Yeah, so Game of Thrones. So basically, this was a expensive series. To get the kind of, because like the shots are amazing. Like even the CGI is amazing on the show.
It was really nice.
It's like one of those wicked.
I love all the guns.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And I also like that laser thing from that Angel Fire.
Oh yeah.
That was amazing sci-fi.
Yeah. Beam weapon technology.
Yeah, I like that. I was like, wow.
It reminds me of there was like some game, I can't remember what it was, but you could call down like hellfire like that. Like you could call down airstrikes and stuff. So it felt like that. Yeah, no, it's really cool. Like just an overview of the first season. The fights are good. The direction is really great. Yeah, no, it's cool. Jaeger was great. Like, Daniel Bainhart is one of my favorite actors, so he was a great Jaeger, the first Jaeger. He kind of popped. Daniel Bainhart from Mortal Kombat Conquest, he played the original Jaeger. And then basically Torben Liberesh, or I'm not saying his name right, so please forgive me, but basically Torben is Ivan Carrera Jaeger, as he's been re-sleeved. So he takes over in season 2. I think maybe Daniel was working on John Wick or something. That's why he wasn't free. But yeah, no, the first season is really good. It's a really good show. Just trying to think of some really standout bits in the show. I really liked sort of like the backstory where he got trained with Kel and the rest of the envoys. I really liked the bit when he was kind of fighting to his death, and then his sister came to save him. I thought that was a really standout bit in the series. I also thought that his kind of like detective work in the show was really wicked in the first season. It really felt like this cool detective series. And I feel that the reason why season 1 for me has got like almost like a perfect 5 shield rating is because the tone, the flow, the team of directors and producers who worked on the movie, the visual look, the cinematography, the way they shot it, you cannot fault it because it's very good. Uh, it was all shot in Canada as well. Like, and that's what's really wicked about it. Like, it's another great Canadian production. Some of my most favorite series have come out of Canada, like Stargate. Just really cool stuff. So this felt like that. And another great thing is that um, Michael Shanks was in it, even though he had a little brief role. So that was cool to see him in season 2. It's a shame that he didn't get to carry on. But yeah, the showrunners were great. You had Steve Blackman as one of the co-showrunners. You had Leta Kalogridis. She optioned the original novel, so she did a great job at adapting the source material. Honey, do you have anything else you want to say? Like, anything you want to talk about the first season before we move on to the second one?
I mean, Well, first season was definitely the best one. The main thing is just the twist that I like it a lot. Like I mean, the action in both was amazing. I mean, the gunfightings and Kovacs like with the revolution, it was great. He was the protectorate, then he was like becoming the envoy and part of and then he met Kel. I mean, all those that bit of romantic and bit of everything basically. So I liked season one, and in fact I liked the twist as well. When his sister became the main villain. I mean, literally, as you said, they were all side stories becoming one main story. So
everyone's path led to the
yeah,
eventual conclusion,
yeah,
which was
yeah,
good. So people's arcs were fully realized.
Yeah, so we have this interest like what's going to happen next. Why is this side story? What's going to do? I mean, it was me like telling Ray like I want to watch it. I want to watch it. What's happening in the next episode? I cannot believe myself. Like I had to push him. Like let's see what's going on. I want to see. So season one is all about that. I would say. And season two is mainly because of the elders. The angel fire, the connection, the way they killed the elders by those the Mets. Yeah.
Yeah, so the original settlers who found Harlan's world. So
Was it the
Harlan,
Mets that killed?
the founders they're
The
called.
founders,
So the
yeah.
founders are basically came on their colony ship
Yeah.
and they were colonizing space and they found Harlan's world. Now Harlan's world, you had to actually reach the world by spaceship. So they went to go find one of the habitable worlds, but they were hoping it was abandoned, but it wasn't. It was full of elder children, like who are still being gestated. They were supposed to come. But Harlan said, I didn't come all this way basically to share my life with these people. I want this world to be mine. So he ends up killing them with the rest of his compatriots except the Japanese guy. So what happens is that they all get taken out, and that's what one of the elders survives. The roots, the seeds.
This is a very
makes
funny.
the elder comes
This is
back.
a very funny question, honey. After watching season 2,
Yeah.
what happened to Harlan?
Harlan was killed by his daughter. She shot him in the back of the neck. So what she did was she killed him, took control. So she did a coup because
Which episode was that?
That was in
how come I
season
missed that?
in season 7. Sorry, in season 7. In episode 7, they basically confront her.
See,
Yeah.
this clearly shows that season 1 was the best.
Yeah, I mean, season 1 has got more memorable episodes. Anthony Mackie. It's really awesome to see Simone Missick back. Like she was awesome in Luke Cage. So this is almost like a similar role for her that plays on her strengths. So she plays a bounty hunter called Trap. So she's very good, and her kind of like you sort of like. I would say, the dynamic and chemistry between her and Anthony Mackie and the rest of the cast was very good. The action was really great. And what happened is you had the amazing Neil McDonough in the show, but he played Harlan, but like only for a few seconds, so that's quite funny. But he's one of my all-time favorite actors. So he's so cool because like first time I ever saw him, he played like this red shirt command. I think he's a lieutenant in Lieutenant Hawk in First Contact, Star Trek First Contact. So he was so awesome in that show. After that, he just kept going, man. He even played M. Bison in this weird Street Fighter film, like this prequel Street Fighter movie starring Kristen Crew as Chung Li, which is like so whack and lame.
Seriously,
he's a wicked actor.
Yeah, but seriously, he had a very, very small role.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish to see him more.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to see him more, but him, like Horace Axley, Michael Shanks' character, Neil McDonough, they all kind of get taken out because they're all the founders, and they all did this kind of bullshit to kill the elders, and then one elder was kind of left as a kind of backup, and it's like you're just stealing all our technology, you've taken our world, it's time for you to eat angel fire. So the showdown at the end was really cool because the elder was originally in Kel and was working with Kel, but then after Kel got taken out and trapped for like a good couple of, I think what was she trapped? Was she trapped in for a few hundred years in that thing? And like Ray just kept coming to visit her and turning her on every now and then. So that was kind of sad. She was kind of trapped for a long time, in this void of her own mind. until she managed to escape and kind of reclaim her kind of destiny and stuff. So yeah, I mean season two's got like the thing about season two is that you pick up Anthony Mackie's kind of like sleeve to be this badass sleeve, and then he fights Wicked for a little bit, and then he gets nerfed by the Wedge, which I thought was a bit lame. I would have liked to have the Wedge and him fight so more, like like because he does kill the Wedge later in that wicked kind of forest bit. But I wanted them to have this wicked showdown at the start with the Wedge. I would have written this wicked scene with the Wedge attack him. Some people get killed, but like he's able to take on the Wedge head to head, and then him and Jaeger have a bit of a fight. But he can kind of recognize, not recognize Jaeger, but there's some familiarity in Jaeger's fighting style. And then then he gets captured later, so like Jaeger finds a way to kind of like drug his sleeve or something. But the bio tracker and the fact that the sleeve was made for like the Wedges group made it kind of like an interesting thing where he had to fight his past friends, in some kind of duel with this kind of serum. So he's seeing his kind of his fears. They're fighting him in those sleeves. So that was a really interesting bit. And then Kel came to save him. So that was one of the highlights of season two, and all the Elder stuff with the Angel Fire's kind of satellite system in orbit, and things like that. It was really cool. It was really cool. You had what was her name? Layla Lauren. So Layla Lauren played Danica Harlin, and she was very, very, very kind of like manipulative and really good at playing this villain, this kind of actress who wants to amass all this power and control. So I thought that was a pretty cool offer. I actually thought that she would become good, but then that switch she did, where she what's it called? Where she just wanted everything like her father. That was really interesting at the end. So, Pre, tell me what you thought about like the conclusion of the series, like the final few episodes when, Takeshi Kovacs comes back, and they kind of all fight, and it leads to that kind of the last few episodes leading up to the finale. What did you think of the finale of season two?
It was good for season two finale. I mean, as I mentioned, the Angel Fire part was the best. And the way they were fighting, with Kill and, trying to take over the elders. And what was the other guy's name who took over the elders' sleeve?
Well, the Elder went inside Jaeger. So Jaeger was trying to turn on the
So
stuff.
the way Jaeger took over, and then, and finally that. The sad part was like when Kovacs sacrificed himself.
Yeah, older Kovacs.
Yeah, the older Kovacs sacrificed himself. Obviously he wanted to save Cal.
Yeah.
So that was quite a sad ending, but I guess that was a script. But I mean, I just like with the connection with the elders, the connection with the the way they had with the Angel Fire. So the finale was good. I would say I wouldn't say it's bad, but still I like season one.
Yeah, season one is really good. Like I would recommend if you want to think of it like this, yeah, I would say that you can watch season one in an insular way. And you don't even have to watch season two. Season two, you could actually kind of think of as kind of like an alternate reality where he did find Cal. So you could leave it to your own imagination and make your own storyline of how he met Cal in season one and carried on, or you could watch season two and enjoy it if you liked it. I really think that they should like resurrect the show. It was one of their best shows that I've seen on Netflix, and I really think that it was growing, and it needed time to kind of you know sort of grow more. It needed at least another two seasons. It was going really well, that show, and I have to give my hats off to everybody. It's a really strong show. Yeah, I just there's really not much that I can think to talk about other than recommend you watch it. So, Pri, should we just give it a rating now?
Yeah, sure.
So we'll do season one. So for me, it's 5. I just thought it was an amazing show.
Are we doing it separately? I thought we were doing overall.
Well, I thought I'd do it separately first, just to kind of like touch on season one, because I think of season one as like really good enough to kind of have its own ranking. So I
Yeah.
think season 1's got a good solid 5 from me.
Same, 5 for me as well.
So 5 for season 1. Now season 2. What do you think?
Sorry, guys. 4.5.
4 or 5 from you. For me, it'd get about 4. So I guess, the show would get 4. It's good. It has its ups and downs though, and that's kind of like, like there were a couple of episodes where it kind of like was, up and down in its kind of
the
tone.
first few episodes, it wasn't that interesting until Into Fire happened. And it kind of like made my interest more, like trying to find out what was the connection, and the connection was with the elders, and finding that underground place, and that was interesting. And yeah.
So that was the thing. Like, it was growing with all this elder background, but it just didn't have time to kind of fully realize all the stuff. What's really nice though is that even though Elder Kovacs killed himself, sorry, it's not killed himself. He didn't commit suicide. He kind of like sacrificed himself for Kel and the whole kind of like Harlan's world. Poe actually had a complete download of his sleeve.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he was rebuilding Kovacs.
Yeah.
So that means that whatever is Kovacs, like his soul or whatever, was somehow backed up, and it kind of said that like it kind of made it out that like he could come back.
In season 3?
Yeah, he could have come back in season 3. So we don't know what kind of way the technology will evolve by then. So there's ways that you can bring him back, and then he could like run into Kel again as she kind of is still fighting to bring down the Protectorate. So yeah, no, it's really good. Like, so like just to kind of like wrap up everything, it's a good show. It's a good show, and I highly recommend it. Like, me and Pre recommend it. Like, what do you think?
I would definitely say please continue doing multicultural series, movies, programs, anything. It gives us hope. It makes us believe that, humanity is still there. It makes us believe that there are talented people from all over the world, and choosing the right people despite their caste, color, creed. It truly shows that. So please continue doing that. And I would definitely recommend this Altered Carbon. And people like me at the beginning who watched just few minutes of the first episode, push yourself. Try to reach episode 2nd or 3rd. It will really, really, like, you will feel the interest growing episode by episode. Definitely, I would say that.
Yeah, it's really great. So yeah, I want to thank Pri for being on the show with me. It's great to be back. It's great to be podcasting again after a little break. And yeah, just hope you guys keep subscribing, keep sharing, and keep listening to Thor, aka the House of R.E.P. So it's goodbye from me, and Pri, you want to say bye to everyone?
Thank you so much, guys, for listening and supporting us. Please continue doing that, and we'll continue coming back with more nice episodes of Thor, the House of R.E.P.
We're getting a very great following now, and it's growing. And I'm very, very humbled to see that people are listening to the show and liking it. And as a filmmaker myself, it's just great. It's amazing to see good productions like this, because it brings humanity together in the way that I want, which is uniting us and creating magic. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. This is Ray signing off. And
Pre signing off.
Yeah. So we're both signing off. So the Rep Valkyrie and the Rep Knight are signing off. And you've been listening to Thor, aka the House of R.E.P.
Thank you, guys.